Welcome to another exciting episode from Marvelous Videos. I'm your host, Tia A.R. Tarantulas Transformers, all about the crazy Predacon scientist. The Transformers have been one of the most legendary franchises in pop culture, and with passing time, there have been various spin-offs and comic series based on it. One such series, Transformers Beast Wars, have taken the weird Predacon known as Tarantulas and put a complete spin on his character and story arc. Tarantulas has always been portrayed as a crazed scientist who conducts sadistic experiments and targets Megatron. However, Beast War comics have taken his role to a whole different level and portrayed him as one of Megatron's most deadliest adversaries. Let us explore his story and have a look at the antics of this peculiar chaotic spider transformer. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Tarantulas, all power to weapons.
Tarantulas in Beast Wars. Tarantulas was one of the most villainous Predacons that were the rivals of the Maximals that had descended from the Autobots. While most Predacons were descendants of the Decepticons, Tarantulas was one of the few Predacons that had extra-dimensional origins that connected them to Cybertron. It was even suggested that Tarantulas had direct links to the Unicron, who was the Chaos Bringer determined to consume the entire multiverse. The Predacons were known for their brutal nature and determination to claim their rightful place in the universe. Lieutenant Tarantulas worked in the Predacon secret police and was also a part of Megatron's original crew. While Megatron was oblivious of Tarantulas' true intentions, this Predacon worked as a mole and shared inside information with the Tripedicus Council. The Tripedicus Council was one of the ruling bodies of the Predacon Alliance that met secretly and plotted the Predacon's return to glory. Tarantulas was a direct agent of this council and intended to completely alter the Transformers' timeline by returning to prehistoric ages and destroying the Ark that carried the Autobots and Decepticons to Earth. However, this plan was unsuccessful when Megatron's warship accidentally crashed on a strange planet and severed all connections with Cybertron. Though Tarantulas could not contact the council, he continued working undercover and even led the position of Megatron's technical leader. Tarantulas manned the scanners that decided on the beast mode for the Transformers based on the local creatures in the vicinity. He chose the beast form of an oversized spider and even participated in the first battle in the Beast Wars. These wars broke out between the Maximals and the Predacons and were initially just a power struggle over territory and the fuel, Energon. Over time, these battles got out of hand and even changed the very nature of space and time. In this first battle, Tarantulas fought in his beast form against the Maximals and even discovered a huge stash of Energon. However, he eventually had to succumb to the huge energy buildup caused by the Energon, while the Maximals managed to escape. Finally, Megatron caused a chain reaction that caused the Energon to explode, and this fight came to an end. Later on, Tarantulas decided to set up an underground lair, where he began experimenting and creating new technology in secret. He even captured a young Maximal named Cheetor by trapping it in a web in his lair. Tarantulas intended to feed on Cheetor, but his secret lair was caved in by the Maximal Rat Trap. Rat Trap even blasted at Tarantulas during the Battle of Standing Stones, and the Predacon later decided to accompany Megatron on an attack to the Maximal ship Axelon when it was rumored that Optimus Primal had died. Optimus was the leader of the Maximals, and the Maximals managed to retrieve him with the help of an alien probe. After returning to a stable state, Optimus then lunged into an attack on Tarantulas and defeated him. In the episode titled Fallen Comrades, Tarantulas was left in charge of the Predacons by his superior, Pterosaur. However, Tarantulas abandoned his position and decided to spy on Pterosaur instead. He discovered that Pterosaur had found a new power source in the form of a flying mountain, with a ton of aerogen at its top. However, Tarantulas was soon spotted by Rat Trap, and the two had a fight, which ended with Tarantulas falling off the mountain. He then discovered and crashed a stasis pod that could transport Transformers and even bring them back to life. He fought against the Maximals and Dinobot over the stasis pod and even had some help help from Megatron and Scorponok. However, he was defeated by Dinobot, who blasted Tarantulas into the distance with the use of some autoguns. Later, the Predacons managed to locate a stasis pod of their own, and Tarantulas used it to create a deadly beast form known as Black Arachnia. Though Megatron was suspicious of Tarantulas' motives, he didn't think too much of it and was glad to have a new powerful beast on his side. Tarantulas later followed Pterosaur as he tried to take over the Maximals, but was blasted by Rat Trap and had to limp his way back to the ship. Tarantulas was also attacked by the Maximal leader Primal in their own spaceship when Scorponok's virus had caused Primal to go crazy. Primal cornered Tarantulas and blasted at him with a weapon that the spider had created himself. Tarantulas had once invented the transformation lock lens that shielded their ship from being detected by the Maximals. He even used this weapon to create chaos among the Maximals, but was finally defeated by Optimus Primal. The lens was even destroyed by the Maximals Cheetor and Tigatron, but it had already done its work, and their ship was undetected by the Maximals' temporal probe. Later, the Predacons launched an attack on the Maximal ship Axelon, but their attack was unsuccessful due to the efforts of Rhinox. Tarantulas later captured Rhinox and put him in a web under Megatron's orders. Megatron wanted to convert Rhinox into a Predacon with the help of the transmuter device, and Rhinox later poisoned him and the Black Arachnia. During the Spider's game storyline, Tarantulas discovered a newly crashed stasis pod, but Megatron refused to let him go and investigate. Tarantulas decided to be more prepared for the next time such as a thing happens, and he disables both of the Maximal ships Axelon and Megatron's ship Darkseid in order to explore a newly discovered stasis pod. However, Tarantulas was cornered by Black Arachnia, who managed to locate Tarantula's secret lair and insisted on coming along. Though Tarantulas had big plans with the stasis pod, he could not do much as the Maximal Tigatron destroyed it. Tarantulas then returned to his pod and told Black Arachnia that their planet was doomed. Black Arachnia then realized that Tarantulas had a plan in place and that he was building an escape ship. Tarantulas later faced Rhinox on another occasion when they attacked the Maximal base. This time, Tarantulas infected Rhinox with an Energon discharge virus, but he was himself cornered by Dinobot during an attack. Dinobot and Rat Trap then captured Tarantulas, but he managed to free himself by dropping a boulder on the two. Eventually, Dinobot tried to use Tarantulas' body as a hostage, but Megatron managed to blast him away. When the return of the aliens became a certainty, Tarantula stole one of the transwarp cells that can propel a spaceship through space, store weapons, or even cross timelines. Megatron detected this theft and then sent Black Arachnia after Tarantulas. Both these spiders then had to team up to prevent the Maximal Tigatron from escaping their ship, but ended up getting injured by a boulder that was aimed at them by Dinobot. They later worked together to infiltrate the Maximal base and came across the knowledge that their planet's second moon was actually a deadly weapon. Tarantulas remarks that this is the state of the end of their planet and starts building an escape ship. However, he was interrupted by Inferno, who set fire to the spider. Black Arachnia came to the Tarantulas' rescue at the last minute and established a link between their minds. Black Arachnia then got access to Tarantulas' plans regarding the escape ship and all the information required to finish setting it up. Later, a quantum surge caused the destruction of the second moon, and its impact knocked out all the Transformers in the universe. Tarantulas' body was then upgraded to a transmetal form, and he compelled Black Arachnia to drag his body back from the Maximal base while ignoring Megatron's orders. He was then later restored to life with Black Arachnia's help, and then Megatron summoned him to the battlefield. While Megatron and Tarantulas fought the Maximals, Black Arachnia divided into some secret files on Megatron's computer and learned some important things about prehistoric Earth, and that she decided to keep to herself. Megatron and Tarantulas later questioned Black Arachnia, but she stated that she destroyed all of the files and didn't find anything significant. Megatron ended up getting frustrated and even smashed Tarantulas against a wall in a fit of anger. Tarantulas then decided to build a new lair, and he was even assigned to check out a new energy source in a cave, along with Black Arachnia and Quick Strike. He decided that this cave would be perfect as his new lair, and tried to disinterest the other Predacons in this mission. Black Arachnia was also focused on destroying the mental link that she had established with Tarantulas, and she eventually succeeded in doing so. They were later attacked by some Maximals, but Tarantulas succeeded in faking the destruction of this cave and then set up a new lair there. He even installed his equipment and ended up detecting the presence of some more aliens. Tarantulas then set out to investigate, but he was forced to retreat after the Maximals outnumbered him there. Tarantulas returned back to Megatron and declared that he would no longer be working for him. However, he decided to help Megatron and the Predacons figure out the alien site. He returned there along with Black Arachnia, who discovered that Tarantulas hated aliens through some remnant link between them. Tarantulas then ventured into the aliens' construct along with Megatron and Quickstrike, but was soon betrayed by Megatron, who called off their alliance. Tarantulas then decided to help the Maximals attack the alien construct, which sabotaged Megatron's plan and caused an explosion in the alien ship. Tarantulas later planted a bug in Megatron's chair and obtained information about Black Arachnia being sent to find a new prototype. He decided to follow her and then interrogated her about the information that she found on Megatron's computer. However, Silverbolt appeared at the last minute and saved Black Arachnia from him. Tarantulas later got into trouble with Dinobot, who tried to extract information about Megatron's plans. Tarantulas did not know much about this and once again ended up getting crushed under a boulder thrown by Dinobot. The Tripredacus Council later detected a huge transwarp wavefront that can travel from prehistoric Earth to present-day Cybertron. They then set the agent Ravage to capture Megatron, and Tarantulas helped Ravage by taking down the Darkseid ship's defense systems. Megatron then realizes that Tarantulas has been working as a mole all along, while the spider just laughed in Megatron's face. Tarantulas even gave up the location of some of Megatron's Energon stashes to the Maximals, but he later went back to manning a transwarp cruiser for Megatron in an attack on the Maximal ship Axelon. Eventually, Rattrap tossed some balls at Tarantulas and blew him up. After being blown to bits, Tarantulas was put back together by a bunch of arachnoids, and he later returned to working at the Predacon base under Megatron. Besides this, Tarantulas was also focused on a solo project and was trying to put back the original Decepticon spaceship known as Nemesis. He had found it lying at the bottom of the ocean, and Tarantulas was attempting to install a Predacon console in the ship so that it could fly back with him to Cybertron. Tarantulas also worked on numerous missions for Megatron and assisted in the construction of Cyberraptors, disruptor cannons, and other deadly weapons. Once Tarantulas joined forces with the Predacons to attack the Maximals when they had gotten their hands on Black Arachnia and were going to remove her shell programming. However, Tarantulas accidentally fired a missile that resulted in Black Arachnia's death, and he thereby destroyed his own creation. Black Arachnia was the love interest of Silverbolt, who was then determined to kill the mad scientist Tarantulas. However, Silverbolt was thwarted by the Predacon rampage, and Black Arachnia even transmaterialized and revived herself. Finally, Tarantulas joined hands with the Predacons to retake the Ark, even though he had intentions of destroying it. Tarantulas used his technology to manipulate Quickstrike into throwing Megatron into hot lava while he tried to overload the Ark's engines. Megatron somehow survived the lava and emerged from it in a new form. He then punished Tarantulas for his behavior, and the spider fled back to his lair. Tarantulas later contemplated how the Tripredacus Council's plans had failed when the system in his lair monitored the almost repaired Nemesis. He even detected the aliens, who were revealed to be the Vok, and learned that they had sent their super warrior Tigerhawk to the Earth. Tarantulas first decided to let the Tigerhawk destroy the Predacons, and then later captured the beast and disabled him. He planned to draw on all the Vok's influences, and then reprogram Tigerhawk to serve him and destroy the Ark. Tarantulas even told Tigerhawk that he could survive the Ark's destruction since he did not have any Autobot or Decepticon origins. He believed that destroying the Ark would even turn Cybertron into a powerful force that might one day even conquer the Vok aliens. However, his plan backfired when he accidentally drew out the spirit of the actual Vok instead of just drawing out its influences. Tarantulas then tried to ward off the spirit by making religious signs, but the spirit caused explosions in the lab and destroyed a lot of lab equipment. Tarantulas' body also exploded due to these explosions, and his lair was soon blown to bits. Cheetor later rescued Tigerhawk from the cave, while Tarantulas was presumed to be dead. Megatron later sent some of his forces to look for the remnants of this lair, and even revealed that Tarantulas was the Unicron spawn. He came across the Nemesis ship at the ruins of Tarantulas' lair, and then once again began using his old spaceship. Exploring the 2006 Beast Wars continuity. In the 2006 Beast Wars comics, some sources suggested that Tarantulas was born at the pit, and a glitch during his birth caused him to learn about the alien force that will manipulate the Predacons in the future. However, another source maintains that Tarantulas was the one of the agents working for the Tripredacus Council for ages, Since he was an essential member of the Council, Tarantulas developed the technology that formed the assassin Predacon, which combined the bodies of Tarantulas and 4 more Council members to form a deadly opponent. Tarantulas used to work with the Council to strive for the future of Cybertron, and they intended to unite as a single, purer race of beings. With the threat of the Great War looming over their heads, Tarantulas learned that Optimus Prime and Galvatron had died in a confrontation. Many Transformers within the Army ranks were greatly concerned about this situation, and Tarantulas was sent back to the field to help with it. While Tarantulas returned to the field, an exploration vessel accidentally uncovered the Council's base. This accidentally changed the course of a transmitter bomb set up by the Council to reformat all of Cybertron. The Council members consisted of Ramhorn, Syndicon, C-Clamp, and Ravage, then decided to visit Tarantulas in the field and even confront Predacon. Predacon was one of the Decepticons in the Army ranks who was causing disruption, and the Council members then took the form of Predacon to defeat him. Tarantulas then met with Megatron and convinced him that Predacon had killed himself out of shame of being involved with Galvatron. However, Megatron was not convinced, and eventually Tarantulas sniped at him with a stun beam and handed him to the Autobots. Tarantulas went to great lengths to attain peace and was later pardoned after the signing of the Pax Cybertronia. While Tarantulas resided on Earth, he became quite obsessed with the Vok Force and was quite curious to learn more about it. He had even once programmed the Predacon's mobile fortress known as the Arachnid and gave it its own personality. Arachnid then became a sentient being that had some of Tarantulas' features, especially his tendency for cruelty. What makes Tarantulas so peculiar? Tarantulas was quite a peculiar being who had powerful ties with none other than Unicron himself. Though Tarantulas often got thwarted by his opponents, he never turned back or gave up on his cause and persisted in bringing glory to the Predacons. His main contribution to their cause was in the form of creating new technology and conducting an array of sadistic experiments in his secret lair. Not only did he like to watch his victims in pain, he even wanted to eat them and had an elaborate plan on how he should cook their dead bodies. When the Predacons captured the Maxwell Nyx, Tarantulas daydreamed about ripping her corpse apart and then making a stew out of it in an Aerojon bath. Evil twisted spider with very strange ways of dealing with his victims, and it was advisable for all Maximals to stay out of his way. Conclusion. Besides playing an important role in the Beast War story arcs, Tarantulas has always been included in various Transformer video games. He has a widespread presence in the extended Transformer universe and has become one of Megatron's most unfathomable adversaries. He always operates sneakily and is infamous for betraying others for his own good. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
You have little choice. And while you deal with the Maximals, I will complete the destruction of the Ark.